Hello everyone, my name is Marcelo Velasquez. I am from the Tesol class. In this video, we are to resolve some doubts, some questions about the grammar translation methods. Okay, the principal characteristic of grammar translation methods are these almost be focused on reading and writing. Don't you don't need to use to speak and listening. This is most important for this method. You need to use of native language because the student they need to have this reference to native language, and most of the time you are only studying the rules, vocabulary, and in this part accuracy over the fluency. This prioritize more this part. Um, we have another is reform moment is the cause to become an after. The cause for this is what the dissatisfaction with grammar translation. The grammar translation is doesn't work because it's only a method to more focus in grammar, but they don't work as the moment you need to speak more fluency, and they don't touch the phonics. And after the reform moment, they invent the direct method because it's another part to communicate better, to approach and marry. Focus on speaking, listen, and this is another part important of English. And we have another cause in the 19th century because the demise has a preference in foreign language was very important because most of the people need to a more good part of his English, and most of the important was the educational reform because most of the teachers they reunited because they need to reform this part of the English because they need to has English more practical and more functional language learning. Focus not only grammar, they need to focus on speaking and understanding the moment they are reading and translating text. We have the principal specialist for this. We have Henry Sweet, and we have William Victor. They are very important in this part because they are emphasized only not in the importance of grammar. They emphasize an importance of phonics and particular language use and method based in the natural language radar, right? And we have the situation language teaching and total physical response. In this part, we have the situation language teaching was uh, apply to more vocabulary and grammar throughout to real life situation because the students need this part important to be from real situation to be a more practical English, and the total physical response was a good response, a fast response to this problem because they use the language and physical movement to link it to learning more because the ideas are combining to physical action with the verbal commands. For example, if you need to use the present perfect tense, you need to be focused in the context and in the context to use that perfect tense, the perfect tenses. Okay, we have another. They are the International Phonics and was created in the 1890 and the 1886 and the 1886 for a group of French British, the linguistics, and they designed this because they need to standardize the system of phonic notation because most of the country has a good English and the moment they are teaching, but they need to standardize this sound, the phonics that are mentioned because the accent most of the country was really problem at the moment to speak English. In the purpose for that was improve the English, then to improve the teaching of pronunciation to help the teacher to give this information to a student. Okay, we have the recommendation, and the principle is use phonics principle, focus in spoken language. The teacher need to use more phrases to introduce the learners to common and practical more. You need to be inductive of grammar teaching because you only don't need to only focus only phonics, only sounds, only speaking. You need to in that form to introduce grammar, and you don't use grammar translate method anymore in any time. We have to the principal development to teaching method according there was careful selection of material. You need to be careful and choose a correct material. And the moment you're teaching English, you need to be to the easy form to more complex form to learning English to has an effective learning. And the moment the student are learning English, you need to use another time used to inductive grammar to teach. Focus only not in grammar, sino only you need to use the context to teach this part. Okay, and we have for the last one the theories of German. We have five of them. They have the functionalism, structural linguistics, inductive learning, language as connected process, and pragmatic approach. These theories contribute a lot, and more integrated to practical approach and linguistic because not only emphasize to important of grammar, they emphasize to important of context, the functionality, and the moment you need to use the English and based on the context you need to use. Because yes, you're good in grammar, you're good in speaking, but you don't has the main idea how to use the English when you are a real situation. And this emphasizing this part. And for the last one, we have the say belief from the reformers during the 19th century. We have the natural language acquisition, contextual learnings. We have the emphasis on communication on your, we don't use more grammar. We have to integrate of a skill like speaking, listening, reading, and writing because you need to mix it all. Not only speaking, not only listening, you need to speak, you need to mix it all. We need to learner-centered approach. This very to reform the learning center. And for the last one, we have to use authentic material. This is very important because if you don't have a specific material for your class, you can to use, for example, an article is not to teach English, but you can to use this article to teach English because the student may to has a good vocabulary from this. Okay, and thank you for everything. This is my part to respond the 10 questions for the Tesol class, and thank you for everything. I will see you the next week. It's a pleasure for me. Bye, Miss Medina.